Hey everybody, thank you for watching another episode of the Trampionship Wrestling Weekend Show. I am your host, The Tramp, and this is brought to you by the Reddit Country Club and bit.ly/wrestling calendar, where we're going to keep you up to date on all the big wrestling shows coming up. Before we get into that though, we've got a little bit of news this week. I want to start off with spoiler warning. If you have been able to avoid social media, especially WWE on Twitter, go ahead and skip forward about 90 seconds or so. This is your last warning. These are spoilers for upcoming episodes of NXT that were just taped, have not aired. You probably heard about this though, but if you haven't and you're trying to stay, skip forward. And if I put it in the title or the thumbnail, I'm sorry. But we did get an announcement of, last warning, War Games coming back for NXT before Survivor Series. It's not going to be called TakeOver Houston, it's going to be called TakeOver War Games. There are a number of teams that have been announced. I'm not going to get into that in case you're still trying to keep that much private from you, but it is going to be a little bit closer to later War Games than the original War Games. You know, kind of that one with Roddy Piper in it. Yeah, it's going to be closer to that one. We don't know if they're using two rings. We're assuming they are, but WCW ran War Games with a knockoff of the Hell in a Cell. So, fingers crossed. It's a lot of people are very curious. We don't know if the rules are going to be any different. Is it going to be elimination style, or is it going to be like the original where it was submission only and only after everybody is in the ring? A lot of unanswered questions that we're going to have to get to, but the build towards TakeOver Houston, as it is now known, TakeOver War Games, is building. Not only do we have that, but we also have that big NXT Women's Championship match. So far we only know one participant. Haven't read the spoilers on that, so don't spoil that if you have. But yeah, so far all we know is that Kairi Sane is going to be in that match for winning the Mae Young Classic, but we've still got 3 NXT roster members to go into that match. Really starting to build up. That's going to be one of the bigger shows. There was a story this week in Sports Illustrated's online website about the second coming, or by this point third or fourth, of the NWA. We got a lot of vague information about what Billy Corgan's plans are for the company. It looks like they are trying to go back to the original idea of utilizing independents together. This coming weekend that you're watching this show, so probably Monday on Fight TV if you don't get it locally, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood is going to have NWA champion Tim Storm in the first bit of the NWA working with independents. This is the first independent that they've signed. They said looking forward they're going to be especially looking for indies with web presence, big social media presence that are really able to kind of get out there. They probably will not be working with the really big guns like Progress, like PWG, Wrestle Circus, but they are going to be trying to get as much mileage as they can out of what indies that they can. So you're probably going to see a lot of that on Fight, like Rocky Mountain Pro, that kind of, you know, second level or third level indie is probably going to be where we see the NWA for the near future. And it looks like it's mostly going to be piggybacking on other people's bookings, which is smart. That's low expenses. That's going to work out well if they can actually get a little bit of buzz from it. That's the big question. On Monday on Raw, we got a couple big things. We got a huge tease about a reunion of The Shield. This coming Monday, WWE is going to be in the same stadium where The Shield first debuted, which is also the same stadium where The Shield broke up. So, a little bit of poetry there, a little bit of symmetry there. Roman Reigns was attacked by The Bar. after earlier in the show he kind of insulted them a little bit because he was asked about them. So it's all coming together. The Bar is feuding with Ambrose and Rollins. Now the Bar is feuding with Roman. The Bar teams up with Miz. You got your 3-on-3 match for TLC. Just kind of makes sense. The other big thing from Raw was Bray Wyatt, who might end up being a transgender face paint demon. It was heavily implied during his promo with Finn Balor that A, he has his own face paint demon character that we just haven't seen yet, and B, that that character could be Sister Abigail. It would explain who Sister Abigail is. I know a lot of people have been wanting to see an actual physical Sister Abigail, and if it is just a voice that's been in his head that is now going to be a second personality, there's your answer. People are weirded out by the prospect, but it all depends on how they execute it, if that is the way they are going. Don't know if we're going to have to wait until TLC to see, or if we're going to get whatever the payoff for this is earlier to promote TLC, but that's what we're working on. So now we got some shows to look at for the weekend. First, we've got International Wrestling Syndicate. This is on Powerbomb TV. This is their debut on Powerbomb TV. The show is called Blood, Sweat, and Beers. This is going to be tonight, Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Mitch, Kevin Dunn, Stevie Maines, and Matt Angel. I don't know any of them. It's not the Kevin Dunn you're thinking of. That's the only thing I know. Are going to be in a four-way match. There's a tag championship street fight, TDT versus Falco and Toll. And the IWS championship, Bucks is going to defend against Dynamite. I don't know these guys, but I have Powerbomb TV, so I am going to be watching, and I am going to find out who these guys are, because that's why I do this, to get you guys to watch something that you wouldn't normally watch. I'm going to watch. Not a big hardcore fan, so might not be my cup of tea, but there we go. Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, UCW Fury Road on Fight TV. This is a la carte pricing, $9.99. This was taped on the 16th, so the results are out there. If you are interested, avoid them. But you've got Chad Stallings and Lincoln Mosley versus Cameron and Carson Murphy. You got EC3 versus Scott Sexton. Rebel versus Kelly Klein. Jeff Jarrett and Chris Michaels versus Sean and Shane Maddox. MVP versus James Storm. And in the championship match, you got Chase Stevens going after Al Snow's championship. So, got a few names on there that I'm sure you're going to recognize. If that's something you're looking forward to, Fury Road is on Fight TV. Then on Sunday, you all know Hell in a Cell. We're going to cycle back to that. Monday morning, King of Pro Wrestling. We've got some huge matches on that. This is New Japan World. This is part of your subscription. This is at 4 a.m. Eastern, so most of you won't be watching this live. But for the briefcase for Wrestle Kingdom, that championship match, we are going to have Naito versus Ishii. Naito is defending that championship. There's the tag team 6-man match, Jado and Trent Beretta and Yoshihashi versus Marty Scurll, Cody, and Kenny Omega. So we've got the tag team of Funky Future putting up their junior heavyweight tag team championship. That is Ryusuke Taguchi and Ricochet defending against Roppongi 3000, which we don't know who's in it. Rocky Romero might be in it, or he might just be managing. It's been implied that he's part of it, but we don't know for sure. But Roppongi 3000, he's got a new partner to replace Trent, since Trent went up to heavyweight. Tag Team Championship, one more time, because it wasn't enough on the Destruction shows, we're going to see Killer Elite Squad put up their newly won championship against War Machine and Guerrillas of Destiny. The Junior Heavyweight Championship, Kushida is going to defend against Will Ospreay. That's going to be a rematch of the Pro Wrestling World Cup. finals, so if you saw that match, you know that they could put on a hell of a match. I'm not a huge Kushida fan, but that was a hell of a match, and seeing it again is not a problem in the least. And then the IWGP Championship, Okada is going to defend against Evil. I like Evil, but there's no way in hell he's a credible challenger at this point to Okada, especially considering the guys that Okada has fought off. This is just fulfilling that tournament win that Evil was able to pick up. We are getting the WXW Tag League. Night 1 is the only one that's going to fall on this week. That is Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. It was going to be on Flow Slam, but apparently the same time WWN left, so did WXW. So now it's going to be on their own service, WXW Now. The tag team matches for the first night are going to be Young Lions versus Spirit Squad. Yes, that's Spirit Squad, even in the German indie. Ringkampf, hell of a name, versus the Briscoes, who probably are very comfortable with that name. I hate the Briscoes. The Rottweilers versus EYFBO in a battle of two LAX tag teams. Massive Product versus A4. And then you have the championship match, Ivan Kiev versus Avalanche. It's a singles match for the WXW Shotgun title. And finally, Julia Nero versus Damak, who you probably remember from the Cruiserweight Classic last year. We have Global Wars Pittsburgh. Now this is cool. This is Ring of Honor. They've only announced a couple matches for this, but they've got a lot of people that have been confirmed to be on the card. This is exclusively for ringside members, but it's free. They're doing an iPay-per-view with their show on Sunday, but their Friday and Saturday shows, and we're going to talk about the Saturday show next week, are free for ringside members. The only matches that we know are happening are War Machine versus Killer Elite Squad. That's an exhibition match. It's not a title rematch. Then you've got Cody and Kenny and Marty Scurll facing Will Ospreay, Yoshihashi, and Toru Yano. And then Silas Young is going to take on Minoru Suzuki. Not a fan of Suzuki, but I cannot see him losing this match, even though I would love him to. Silas Young is great, just really exudes character. He is very convincing as his Last Real Man character, and I would love for him to pick up a win over Suzuki, but I just don't see it happening. He's too well protected. People love that he used to be a badass back when he was not yet 90 years old. So I can't see Silas Young picking up the win in this. We will get more matches announced before the show comes. Check out Ring of Honor, ROHWrestling.com. Check them out on Twitter to keep up with that card. I wish I had more for you, but what I do have is the card for Hell in a Cell. We are cycling back to that. We have on the kickoff show Gable and Benjamin versus the Hype Bros. They've been teasing the Hype Bros splitting up, and I want nothing more than for that to get reversed and for Gable and Benjamin to split up. It's what I wanted from their first match together. I think it was awful that they just slid Shelton Benjamin in there to replace Jason Jordan when Shelton Benjamin is such a well-established talent from his time before. It really looked like the laziest, American Alpha's Team Angle mashup, and I would love for them to just kind of blindside people with the turn that they haven't been foreshadowing as a kind of flip of the trope on the Hype Bros feud that they've kind of been building to instead. We've got Rusev versus Orton. These guys have both picked up very quick wins over each other recently, so I expect this to have a little bit more time to it. Still not going to go 20 minutes, but probably a solid 12-minute match. Rusev needs the win, so they're probably going to give it to Orton. The United States Championship, AJ Styles is going to defend against Baron Corbin. I think Baron is ready for the U.S. Championship, but I don't think they're going to put it on him yet, which is a shame. They've kind of been toying with him a little bit. They gave him the Andre the Giant Battle Royal last year. They gave him the Money in the Bank this year, and Now he's failed at a cash-in, and they're just still kind of holding him in a holding pattern in mid-card. And if they don't put the belt on him, I don't know what they're doing with him. You know, there were rumors that he had some heat backstage, but they're keeping him in a title feud. So it can't be that bad. But I don't know what they're doing with him if they're not doing this. You got Ziggler versus Bobby Roode. This can be Bobby Roode's pay-per-view debut, I believe. I'm very interested in why they're using him as a face when he was a heel all through NXT. Ziggler, I'm kind of over. I hope that he really makes Bobby Roode look good. Ziggler is good at that. He's good at making his opponent look good, but he's not as interesting to me as he used to be. You got the Women's Championship, Natalya defending against Charlotte. I would not be surprised to see Charlotte pick up the win after all the... I hate to sound crass, I hate to sound cynical, but she's gotten a lot of PR out of what's been going on with her father, and even though she never would have asked for it in a million years, I think that they're just, between that and the timing of the book, they're going to jump on what they've got and put the belt on her. I still think that they're going to draw out the feud with Becky until a little later down the line, but they can put the belt on Charlotte and have her deal with Natalya and maybe another challenger first, and then move on with the Becky storyline later. And I think the Becky-Charlotte story, wherever they go with that, is going to work better with the belt on one of them. I think Charlotte wins. You got the Hell in a Cell Tag Team Championship match. This is the New Day defending against the Usos. I don't care who wins. This match is going to be amazing. They say that it's going to be 2-on-2. The third New Day member is going to be locked out of the cage. I can't see that happening. That's just too much going on to just have one guy outside the cage the whole time. Unless Xavier Woods gets on commentary or something, I don't see how they justify that. Then we've got the Hell in a Cell match, Owens versus Shane McMahon. This is Falls Count Anywhere, which seems to telegraph that they're going outside the cage. That's always part of the fun, is how they get outside the cage, and now they're just flat out saying, yeah, it's going to happen. It's not going to be like that one match with Taker and Brock that stayed inside. We're leaving the cage somehow, and there's probably going to be a pinfall. Might even be on top of the cell. That's been done once before, even though it wasn't supposed to be done. Shane will probably fall off again, unless Owens takes the spot, but he's not really known for doing that kind of stuff, which might be all the more reason to have him do it. I don't know. We're going to get at least one holy crap spot out of that. And then finally we have the championship match, Jinder Mahal defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. I think this is when they finally put the belt on Shinsuke. I think this is probably the least exciting World Championship feud that they've had since the brand split, and that's why I think it's very likely that they actually put it on Shinsuke just so that something comes out of this. I know I've talked about Jinder's championship reign not being what I would have liked. I know I'm not the only one that didn't like it. I think it's an experiment that they were trying to get something out of, and it's just not working, and at some point they got to pull the plug, and I think this is going to be it. Anyway, Trampions, I thank you for watching. I love you guys. You know the links to check out. You know where to go, the Reddit Country Club. Check it all out. I love you. Hit like, hit subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you very much. Cheers.